name is Kevin Bermond. I work for First Five Alameda County. I am the co-founder and program administrator of the Alameda County Fathers Corps. The Fathers Corps work focuses uh, really laser focused on systems change, capacity building, so making our systems, our social and community support systems more father friendly and supporting them with their effectiveness of engaging and supporting the needs of fathers, capacity building, building the capacity of the providers who work within those systems to, again, effectively um, serve and support the needs of fathers. And all of this work, the system change work and capacity building work, really requires us to highlight the true narrative of fatherhood. Direct service providers have to believe that fathers are engaged and or want to be engaged in order to authentically and serve and support fathers. Chris or Ignacio, can you share a little bit about why narratives or narrative change is so important to supporting fathers? And in other words, why is what people think about fathers important to supporting and engaging fathers?
It's important to change the narrative, especially around fathers, is because the way you treat fathers in just social media or the way you treat fathers in any part of the public sectors is how they're going to be treated in general. When we look at everything that has gone on in our system of care, from family court to child support to even our healthcare system, fathers are not prioritized. Fathers are not given the same amount of attention that women and children are given. Fathers are this underserved, this overlooked population in our family systems. It's one of those things that now we have to change because fathers are essential to families. And the research shows that when fathers are involved in children's lives, how much more successful they are. When fathers are involved in the community is a better place to be. And so I think when we change the narrative of fathers in one system, the carryover will be dramatic in all the others. And so it's vital because we have men that's out there that see themselves the way that people perceive them to be. And with me having direct services and I'm dealing one-on-one with these guys directly, I'm over here trying to change their minds about what people think about them.
Changing the narrative is really also putting in context of the generations and really centuries um, of systematically separating fathers from their families, and we're dealing with that as a result in the last few decades. We're looking to rebuild that. We're looking through these narratives, through changing and shifting the narrative around um, around being more engaged, inclusive, and validating the lives, the stories, and the experiences that fathers have. And so recognizing the narrative and recognizing that experience and story is extremely important to understand the complexities of fatherhood, of father engagement, and of family dynamics that we have in our society. Everything from families that have been here for generations to new immigrant families and what those experiences have been.
Thanks, Ignacio. How has highlighting the true narrative of fathers over the past several years in your work with the Fathers Corps created new opportunities for your work with fathers, Ignacio?
Not only new opportunities, it's created discussions, focused conversations around the experiences and values that fathers play in families. And one of the things that we've really done with Fathers Corps has been to expand the perception and the experiences of what a father is. It's really expanded that view and opportunity of who and how we engage working with men. And that becomes one of the underlying areas, and especially in the field of social services and healthcare and public health. It is very fragmented when it comes to family services. And so when we're expanding that opportunity and that discussion, and it creates so many aha moments. And aha being like there's this switch that just like, oh wow, I didn't think about that before. We haven't learned how to do this. And so when we're doing that, we're expanding the curiosity. We're breaking down the societal narrative.
What's next for you and your fatherhood work, and what do you hope for the future as far as this work is concerned, and maybe even a little bit about what success looks like for you?
Success for me is not so much in numbers, but but more in how the father responds to the services. So for a dad that comes in and we do an ASQ, which is a ages stages questionnaire, and it's a developmental assessment tool. So one of the things for success is when he does that tool and he goes home and he talks about the 5 different stages of development. He goes home and he talks about the different areas of how his child can grow, or when he identifies one of the 5 stages of development and he comes back and he talked to me about it, or he goes out and takes and expose his children to something new, maybe take them to the zoo and his son or daughter to start talking about the animals, or getting involved with their children at school, right? Being an in classroom assistant, going on field trips, things like that. For me, that's success, that's parenting, and that's what we're looking at moving our program to in the near future.
Future and success. I mean, there's so many opportunities. I know that this has been an incredibly challenging year for all of our families, for many organizations. In the future, I'm hoping that more organizations are going to be adopting and implementing these principles across Alameda County. That they're going to be from probation, and reentry services to child development and early childhood to adolescents and those who work with teenagers, because there's multiple stages of development over the lifespan that we need to also recognize that parenting also changes and evolves over those different stages of development. As adults, our stages also change. And I think that's the vision, as well as what are the practices and what are the things that we need to put in place to make that happen. How consistent can we be in providing support to organizations? How consistent can we be in lifting each other up when things feel hard as an organization, as a public system?
So I just want to thank Ignacio and Chris, my partners in crime in this work, for taking time out of their very busy schedules to join us. I look forward to moving this fatherhood work forward and continuing to advocate for dads. And thanks, many, many thanks to the Kresge Foundation for highlighting our work.